I'm Melana of Melana On The Path, A Journey into the Light. Welcome to my podcast series, The Path Channeled Lectures. We continue this lecture series with What Color Is My Pain, Part 4. In Part 4, the conclusion of this lecture series on healing racial disunity, Chakra brings it all home to our doorstep, giving us the choice and the responsibility to decide what we desire for ourselves and each other. What are our hopes, our dreams, and our intentions for the future of the human race and our planet? His unconditional acceptance of who we are and the story we have woven for ourselves, coupled with his encouragement and support of what else we might be capable of achieving, is an example each one of us can follow as we gently and with an open heart remember that it is every person's birthright to be loved. Loving ourselves and loving each other is the true path of every human being. Listen, enjoy, and learn.
When we speak about a spiritual revolution, what you must understand is that this is something that is very big that is happening to you. It is your opportunity to wake up. We are not saying that you are wrong for not having your love for yourself. In the evolution and the unfolding of your planet, that is what has occurred. Beings made different choices based on free will. If you did not have free will upon your arrival to this planet, you would have been little more than puppets, being told and directed what to do by Creator. How boring. How can anything grow if it's not allowed to express itself? You were allowed to express yourselves, and this is what you did. It's not great, but you did it. It has potential, but you left something very important out of it. Do you want this to work or not? Are you interested? Do you want to throw your hands up and give up? Do you want to take a chance and gamble on something that you left out, that perhaps that part will help this situation in a most profound way? What do you want to do as human beings? What are you interested in? You all ready to die? Come home? Try it again? You're awfully close to getting it. Awfully close. And you have more help and support than this planet has ever had to get it. What are you going to do? How are you, as human beings, going to show up? How much pride is going to stand in the way of you getting the truth about what happened? Who wants to be so right anymore that the destruction of the planet weighs in the balance? Who wants to be blaming so much another without tending to themselves? Looking at someone else and saying, you did this, you're wrong, you're horrible, is not going to heal a thing. Looking to yourself and saying, what can I do to heal this situation in myself, is going to change things. Everyone has to heal themselves because of poor judgment, leaving out the important factor of seeing oneself in love. Loving the self is the healing that has to occur. Now, there are many aspects to this healing process. This is business of loving the self. Everyone has to begin at the beginning with themselves. Everyone has to be willing to take a look at their lives in relationship to all of it, in relationship to them, within their family structure, within their culture structure, within society structure. Take a look at their own picture and see where it is that the love stopped. Acknowledging that you are, if you are a person in the white culture, that the love of self stop when you first were conscious that you were better than someone else. For a person of color, the love stopped when you were conscious that you were less than someone else. You see the lack of balance, the extremes, both of them identifying places out of love. To think you are more means you do not love yourself. To think you are less means you do not love yourself. To see yourself as being equal to is the place of balance from both sides. So not for the people of culture to aspire to be like the white culture. They're out of balance. They don't love themselves either. Go for the balance. Look at yourself and see at what conscious point you are aware that you were either too much, you were more, or you were too little, you were less. The white culture has to begin asking itself questions about how thinking of oneself as being more affected that person's life. How the taking for granted the privilege, how the taking for granted that there would be beings less to look down upon, beings less to serve, beings less to compare oneself to. Automatically, not even knowing these beings, but just because they were a certain color, how did this impact your ability to love yourself? Where, for people of the white culture, did you first consciously realize that there was something inherent in how you held yourself that was off balance? Every person in the white culture has a place of realization that they ignore about how they got to be better than everyone, just like that. It's the automaticness of it that comes under suspicion by the person. That just for being born a certain color, they get to be better without having done a thing. When on the planet itself, in this society, one's progress is measured by one's ability to accomplish. People of the white culture are very aware of it, of that aspect, because they designed and created it. And yet they get to be better than everyone without having done a thing. That is suspicious. They design something and they get to be better before they even participate in the design. Something's off there. And every white person has a moment where they understand that something's off. Part of the healing of the white culture is discovering that point in time. When did you see that the picture was wrong? When did you consciously realize you were covering up from that point on? When did you consciously realize that you were making excuses from that point on? When did you consciously decide not to be conscious? When did you consciously decide to follow the setup and not go your own way? For people of color looking at their walk, at their past, all along the way being told that you were not okay, realizing on a deep level that that wasn't true. So much of the pain and the anger, the self-destructiveness that comes with people of color comes with ignoring the realization that this isn't true. It's like pain and anger turned in on oneself because one cannot turn it out and speak of it and hold it. People of color have always known that this wasn't true. They have. They've become angry about it. They've become hostile. They've become destructive. They've become all kinds of things to carry the pain. But basically the pain is about knowing that this was not true. For people of color, in terms of loving themselves, it's honoring that knowing. It's going back and saying to oneself, to one's parents who are carrying the same disease, I am and I have always been just fine. I am who I've always known myself to be. It's claiming your own truth about who you are. And the part that's difficult is getting through the pain of all of the denial and the repression. Getting through the pain of it all. What we are going to do at this point is to allow for that to be an opening. The next breakdown will then be sitting with each culture, sitting in the midst of their story, in terms of how to heal each culture's sickness, how to heal each culture out of love state, how to heal each culture with love, and what is necessary for that culture to do together. It is very important to do this in sections. It's very important to layer it, introducing the idea and letting people sit with that. Letting people start to get it. Letting the information start to move the hearts of the people. So that as the information comes through, the awakening starts to happen. So there's a level of receptivity.